Hello, welcome to the Fitness Freedom Podcast. I have a distinguished guest with me today, Sunil Bhaskaran. He is a transformational leadership coach, speaker, and author. He's spent decades helping leaders see the blind spots that quietly run their lives. He draws on Zen Buddhism, ontological philosophy, and over 500 proprietary distinctions. And with that, he helps people shift their paradigms beneath their behavior rather than just chase surface level solutions. And that's why I am so delighted to have this conversation. Welcome, Sunil.
Hi, thank you for having me here. It's an
Mm,
honor and a privilege. Thank you.
yes. And we've been connected on the online world, I think, for a few years now. I think we met in like a online networking group. Is that right, Sunil?
I might have been. I honestly don't recall,
Yeah.
but it has been a number of years, and I've followed you, and yeah, just an online relationship. So I
Yeah.
think it's the first time I'm
Yeah.
actually meeting one on one. Yeah.
Yes. And I've also been getting I also get your emails, your Substack. I read them and they always seem to be so timely with helping me and where I'm at in life. So you're so wise. And I know you have so many good perspectives that you can share here. So can you just tell us a little bit about where you got to where you are today, how you got to where you are today? In a nutshell, I know there's a lot there, but
Well, yeah, I mean, I can make it in a nutshell, good enough for people to understand. I grew up with in a very good family, and but I had a couple of traumatic episodes that are, a little bit more traumatic than most people experience. And I knew that I had to resolve those traumatic experiences, and that pretty much drove me, and I became obsessed with, fixing myself, was the original thought pattern. But that drive to fix myself led me to a lot of sources of wisdom as I came to the United States to study here. Um, and, I got a degree in 2 degrees in electrical engineering, computer science, worked very successfully in that arena for a while. But I got more interested in the course of dealing with my trauma in human beings and what made human beings tick. And to make a very long story short, I got introduced to a lot of Zen through my mentor, who became like a father figure for me. And, he was very engaged in my life as opposed to a lot of coaches and mentors. Even today, they don't spend a lot of time with you. But we spent a lot of time together and had long dialogues about what worked, what didn't work. Then I participated in his very successful business as a mentor himself. He taught me how to coach. He threw me in the deep end, so I learned from hard experience more than anything else. And in the course of going through all that, I also got exposed to this field of philosophy called ontology, which is a study of what it means to be. What does it mean to be, to exist? And in the course of doing that, I got really enamored with how language, how the words people use and the way they use them uh, almost betrays everything about them. And I know that sounds scary, like I'm going to read your mind, but it's really quite grounded and a very effective way of mentoring people. Um, in the course of that, I learned really the distinction between being a mentor and a coach. And a mentor is really interesting. The movie Odyssey just came out. The mentor actually comes from that tale, the Odyssey, where the son of the king gets mentored by a guy, and guess what his name is? It's Mentor.
hmm.
Uh, and it's very interesting for you as a woman to know, or the gender of women, to know that who the son got coached by was not the actual human form, but the form of Athena, the goddess of wisdom, who adopted a human form to teach his son to become like this wise king that his father was. And so mentor in ontology is really about using language, you could say, to instead of forcing or pulling people along. The word coach comes from a German word which means to pull along, I believe. And but mentoring is more about creating a space or you could say a space or a field or a clearing for people to show up as great. I
Mm,
get very excited because I'm a clearing for people to find their own distinctions, their own wisdom,
mm-hmm.
rather than giving them my wisdom. I train them
Yes.
to create their own wisdom because people have their own wisdom in their body, for example,
Yes.
which I'm sure you agree with very much, right? I found that the body, most wisdom is really embodied after a while. You feel things
Yes.
in your body, in your heart, in your gut. People talk about the heart and the gut a lot, right? And so they actually have a lot of distinctions. Mothers have distinctions of wisdom around nurturing people because they have to almost, it's biological. But a lot of that wisdom, they run a business, they don't feel like that wisdom applies, but it does, big time.
Mm-hmm.
So I've learned in the course of being a mentor that is way more effective, way more powerful, in fact, way more enjoyable to bring out that wisdom in people and show them their strengths and show them where some of that wisdom may be a little weak and how they can strengthen it with their own thinking, with their own independent thought and being, you could say.
Yes. Yes.
And that's, in a nutshell, my progression from being a kind of a lost kid
Mm-hmm.
to becoming a wiser man to becoming a mentor for other wiser men and women.
Yes.
So I leave yeah, go ahead, please.
I
Yeah,
appreciate that. Thank you for sharing your story, the mentorship.
sure.
I feel like without knowing that distinction, that's often what I do because the older I get,
Mm,
and hopefully the wiser I become, I realize how much we have in ourselves, and that's partly why I like your work. You talk about uh, our blind spots as well, and I have been digesting that from your articles. What kind of blind spots we have? What are we thinking that we're so certain on that we might not be seeing, and someone else can come in and give us that perspective. In your work you have so many paradigms and distinctions, but I wanted to ask you a little bit more about the paradigm of moving towards something with a seemingly positive intention, as you
mm,
say,
right.
and what we might be moving away from. Because, and I want to share with the audience why I bring this up, because a lot of the times in fitness and health, we think we're moving towards health. We
Mm,
have this noble intention of, I want to be healthier. But
right.
oftentimes we're moving away from fear, maybe a fear of getting older, a fear of our existence, a fear of getting uh gaining weight, which is a big thing in our society. I talk about, like, there's
Sure.
underlying fears that might seem noble on the outside but might even be compressing or denying our inner wisdom. So
Yeah.
what do you have to say on that paradigm,
Oh
Sunil?
my God. You have a couple of days. You know, the thing I love about this work is, uh, the word distinction in ontology, it's really an operational tool to dive into the world of what you don't know that you don't know. Your blind spots, you could say, because you're not aware of your blind spots. Most people say, oh, I'm aware of my blind spots, but then they don't dig deep enough to really see the impact. So knowing something doesn't really give you much if you notice that. But there's more to this game, right? So the distinction of what I call the noble disguise, which you did the assessment of, and exposes what you don't know that you don't know about yourself. And that is a space of real breakthroughs, of finding the juice in your life that's been missing, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are many people who have ambitions of being healthy, or if you take any ambitions of being married happily, or or having the best relationship or best company in the world or the most well-funded company in the world. There's always this thing of there's a relationship between your nobility, you could say, your ambition or your nobility and what you're avoiding.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
most, yeah, you know.
share more, please.
So I grew up extremely ambitious and I thought it was very noble. And it is to a great extent, very noble to aspire to something bigger. But it was covering up a lot of stuff. So one thing I noticed, so the form of the noble disguise is another name for the noble disguise that I invented is it's called XY. It's called XY technology because there's an X and a Y that you're solving for in this conundrum or mystery about who you are. And there's several XYs. Most people have about between 8 to 13 XYs that run them. So X is something that you're avoiding with a seemingly noble intention. Y. So it's X is what you avoid with a seemingly noble intention of fulfilling Y. So, for example, one big thing that ran me, which I didn't know for a long time, was I was avoiding the full self-expression of my passion with a seemingly honorable intention of honoring my parents' sacrifices in their lives. Because I didn't want to supersede my parents and it seemed like I would dishonor them by being too expressive because they were
Hmm.
quiet people. They did things humbly, you know? So in some ways, you could say it's noble to be humble, and you could be right. But on the other side of it, if you're suppressing yourself to be humble, that causes all kinds of problems, right? And similarly, there are people who I call hustlers, in life. It's actually a polite term, you know, hard worker types. I have a lot of them. It's quite a common thing, really, in our culture,
Yes, yes.
right? A hustler. So the noble intention is to work hard. Hey, I work hard, but they're avoiding the possibility of being called lazy.
Hmm.
You can see if they were ever called lazy when you were young, and that stung you as a 7 or 8-year-old, it could color the rest of your life. Now, you could say, well, it's good to be hardworking, and you're right. You could be right about that. But if you're hardworking to the point where you're burning yourself out and you're not really producing the results you want anyway, you're not making the money you want anyway, you're not getting the healthy body that you want. Every time you work harder, you get injured, then it kind of defeats the purpose.
Hmm.
If you work, if you overwork your body to the point where you're just doing it as a formula, then the joy of running, the joy you experience when you dance is lost. And
Yes.
what's the point if you have a healthy body but you have no soul?
Hmm. Yeah.
Pointless,
Yeah.
right? So there's, you could say that people don't realize in their pursuit of humility or ambition or whatever else could be noble for them, that actually that pursuit is actually exactly what's nailing their foot to the floor.
Yes. And that's the thing is it keeps us trapped.
It's a trap.
It's a cycle. We just keep chasing and avoiding, chasing and avoiding, chasing and avoiding, and it's tiring.
It's tiring, and not just a trap, it's not just a cycle, which you're correct about. It's also a box that you're stuck in.
Mm.
So my job as a mentor is to ever so gently take the goldfish out of the pond,
Hmm.
to show them the water they're swimming in, and then so ever gently, politely put them back.
Hmm.
So now they can choose.
Hmm.
Some people choose, you know what? Happy being a goldfish in this pond.
Hmm.
Other people go, I think there are bigger rivers I can swim in. Might be risky, but I might be able to see more in my life. See, so
Yeah.
it becomes a choice
Yes.
rather than a compulsion.
Hmm.
The compulsion of being a 7-year-old trying to overcompensate for being lazy
Hmm.
becomes an option rather than the de facto way to do your life.
Yes. And that's
See?
where we feel our power because then we have the freedom to choose. And it's a
That's right.
conscious choice. It's not an unconscious choice anymore. I see the hustle mentality a lot in fitness and health. It attracts,
Absolutely.
it's congratulated too in our culture where, working hard, doing good workouts and eating well and all that stuff. And so I'm realizing more and more in my work too, like these patterns don't just play out in health and fitness, they play out in other parts of people's lives, whether it's that hustle versus laziness or that perfection versus failure. That's another big one because
Yeah.
it feels easy to latch onto food and exercise as a way to be perfect and to play that out. And there's other paradigms, or even like, I don't want to be seen as a hustler. Like, I don't want to try.
Yeah.
I've been burned so many times that I'm going to do nothing. So chasing, like, almost chasing like this sense of not caring because you're
Right.
afraid of a failure or getting hurt. But you, how do we identify those blind spots, even just like symptoms or signs that we're in this box, as you say?
Yeah. Well, when I mentor people, usually people come to me with the costs of being stuck in that box. And it's a paradox because they want to improve their performance as a leader. Mostly a lot of leaders come to me, high level leaders, and they're very successful, but there's always this, yeah, but
Mm,
certain people get their go up. Certain situations, they're lost. You know, they have a formula that they know is beginning to break down. It doesn't
mm-hmm,
work. Certain people, they seem pretty forceful. Some people think that their leadership is contrived, too manipulative, too domineering. And they're like at a loss because Sunil, I'm the most friendliest, easygoing person you can find. And so there's this nobility that you can start listening to. You can hear it in your language. If you keep if people keep saying the same observation about you, or you keep having the same drama that keeps coming up, whether it's from other people or yourself, that's usually an indicator of an XY. If there's a decrease in your performance and you know you're capable of more, or you know you're capable of more joy, you're successful, but you're joyless. You have a marriage that looks perfect on the outside, but there's no chemistry. You know you're a poet, but you're not writing poetry, and so you can feel the costs and the impacts, but it's like a mystery because you seem to be doing everything right.
mm-hmm,
Everything that your parents said you should do, you're doing, for example, or you're not doing it all, but you're doing some of it, right? But yet, there's that yet. That's usually a good sign. That's some awareness to build. So that like there are 5 levels of transformation. It's really oversimplified, Michelle, but I'll do it. I'll say it anyway, because life is way more complicated than this. But the first stage is awareness. You get aware of your blind spot. So one way is, you did the assessment. It kind of shows you something, but you got to get into a dialogue to look at what does this XY mean? It's what's the box look like? So even if you don't do the assessment, you want to look at what this box looks like. What is the box? What is the language that I always use? What are the words I'm always stuck on?
mm,
What are the common complaints and drama that I keep perpetuating? What words do I use in that drama? What cuss
mm-hmm,
words do I use? What other kinds of pejorative words do I use against other people and myself? How do I put myself? What language do I use? That's one thing. What emotions come up? And then there are the 4 horses of death that I
mm-hmm,
talk about, which are moods in ontology, you could say. And the 4 horses of death are resignation. So do you keep saying, "Oh, this is hopeless,"
mm.
or some version of that? Frustration. Frustration usually means the only option is to work harder. So I just got to work harder.
Ooh,
That's
that's
the
a good one.
language.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can see how that works out really well in fitness. Um,
Yeah.
you know, so resignation, frustration, and then what I call an inappropriate relationship with fear.
Mm,
So something happens and you go, It's just too horrible. I can't. You're paralyzed. You
Mm-hmm.
have an ineffective relationship to your fear. It's not the fear itself. It's not the emotions itself. It's how you relate to these four horses.
Mm-hmm.
See, and then the last horse is guilt. It's one of the biggest ones. So it's like I've done something wrong, and nothing will atone for it. You
Mm.
keep beating yourself over the head, and you keep overworking. You keep trying to do everything to please everybody,
Yeah.
but you never nurture your health. Big one, right? For a lot of people. So guilt, a lot of people don't want to hire a fitness trainer because the guilt of paying more money sounds wrong.
Yeah.
Why should I take care of myself when other people are starving out
There
there,
you go.
right?
Yes.
But what they don't realize is if you don't get fit, you can't help other people at a higher level.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see how this starts working out. Then you want to look at where you're out of integrity. Integrity is not it's not right and wrong necessarily, although that could be part of it. It's more like what's missing for you. Oh, so health is missing for you. Okay, you haven't gone to the you haven't done any exercise for 2, 3 months now. It's a missing. You're
Mm-hmm.
not eating right. What's missing in your diet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's out of integrity is what I call it. It's not right and wrong. You want to
Yes.
reframe it as what's missing.
Yes.
Then it becomes more of an opportunity to put in what's missing, which is the second stage, which is you're starting to normalize the drama that comes out of the awareness. Most people skip over that. So, they get aware, but it's too dramatic, and then they jump into action, but they jump too soon on top of all the feelings that have come up.
Mm-hmm.
But if you give an opportunity for the feelings to calm down, relax a little bit, then you're in the third stage, which is what we call tabula rasa in Latin, which means a blank slate.
Mm-hmm.
Most people, when they get to this point, like I did, it's shocking because you realize you got nothing to worry about. But believe me, you'll invent something to worry about.
Yes.
And I tell people, why not invent something worth worrying about?
Mm.
Like a cool game to play. That's a more interesting game for you inside of health and wellness. It might be to be well enough so that, because I'm 60 now, I don't have grandkids, but if I did, you know, I want to be able to play soccer with my grandkids even when I'm 80 years old, you know, and aspire to that, right? That's the game to
Mm-hmm.
play. So it becomes a more interesting game, an invented game, a game that they own, not something that they came by default at the age of 8 years old.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then the last two stages are, more structural. You put in systems and structures and an accountability until you fulfill it.
Hmm.
Then you play the next game. And then you find that life could be a series of games that you play, which makes life a lot more interesting.
Yes.
And that's one way to do the transformational game.
Yes. And actually, I can see that in my work, like how I guide people through that to create your own rules, to change the game, to
Yeah,
make the
Michelle,
game
you have
something you
a
want.
lot of wisdom,
Hmm.
and you probably have, how long have you been doing
Six
fitness?
years.
6 years. Okay. So, 6 years is substantive. Most people don't realize, most people think about 10 years, mastery. But 6 years, you probably did it pretty intensively because I watch your videos. I know you do a lot of this work. And I've heard you share some of your distinctions that are unique probably to you, because distinctions come from the nuances, the exceptions to the rule. Most people go to the oversimplified explanations for health and wellness. But
Hmm.
the real masters, the real good mentors are the ones who can look at your exceptions, the nuances. Yeah, I believe in that practice, but Michelle, my life is a little bit different. I'm a mother. I have 3 kids. They're triplets. They're all at
Hmm.
the same age. It's a different dynamic. How do I deal with this? See, and you probably have distinctions to deal with all those kinds of things.
Hmm.
And that's what puts you over the top. And most people they don't market real because they don't think about what their real distinctions are. Once you distinguish your distinctions, you can market yourself a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
become a better because you're clearly messaging your leadership abilities.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I appreciate your work like that quiz, that assessment. I saw one of them is, um, just to be frank with the audience, like one of them is like spirituality, like turning to spirituality and being overly positive. Another one I remember was,
The transcender.
yes, yes, yes. And I see that in my life, and I've been more aware of how I do that. Like, oh, it's going to be okay. Everything will work out, you know? And the other
There's
one,
an honorable intention of
yes,
having things work out, but then you avoid dealing with some realities.
there we go. That's me to a T with my what I see. The other one I think was like being faithful, like I committed to this, so I'm going to do it no matter what, even if it's not working anymore. And I definitely have been there in multiple areas of my life. So you have this assessment available in the notes, and I want to share with people where they can find you. And I highly recommend to everyone listening, please, at the least, like subscribe to Sunil's Substack. Like you'll be hit with his profound wisdom weekly in your inbox, and it's so beautiful and so real. And I can see, I think what draws me to you is in a sea of like all these coaches and mentors and people who want to share their knowledge. Like you are in integrity with yourself and it comes through, and you're not playing a game that other people are playing. You've made your own game, and that is clear, and I really appreciate that
Yeah.
and
It's
aspire
hard
to
to play
that
your
too.
own game, and
Yeah.
develop your own wisdom. Uh,
Yes, that's what the
share.
world needs. Like, there's so much cookie cutter stuff out there. And I'm realizing more and more people, especially in this age, like, I think a few years ago, even in the coaching world, like earlier when I started, people were wanting like guarantees and programs and like
Money back guarantee.
yes, promises. And I think now with where AI is and COVID having happened, I think we're looking more for authenticity and people who are themselves and have something special that's not cookie cutter. We don't want to guarantee as much as we want connection and growth. I see that. Maybe it's just me, but I think this is you shining in your in the best time.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, but what you're sharing is very cool because what does it mean to be authentic you never find the answer. The answer is in the journey.
Mm,
I mean, I love the story of Odyssey. The it's in the movie theaters now. But the real story is a set of 24 books, and they're all poetry. It's all poetry. Um, and it talks about a journey, because the king takes his journey, his son takes a journey too. And it's interesting, the young wannabe king and the king that's already wise, and how
mm,
he leads his men, and how you see that the real journey, it looks on the external like you're fighting these monsters and all that, but they are internal monsters,
mm-hmm.
you know, and how the distractions occur and how you can withstand the distractions. It's beautiful. There's a part in the story where they're in the ocean and they're going to go past this island where the sirens are. The sirens are these women fairies that they make a sound and it can destroy you. And he tells his men, keep rowing and put the wax in the ears, but I'm going to tie myself because there's not enough wax to go around.
Mm,
I'm going to tie myself to the mast and fight my own internal because I know I have the wisdom to do that, and I'll
mm,
direct you what to do. That's real leadership, is
mm-hmm,
to be able to be with the distractions and still lead. You see,
mm-hmm.
and so it's beautiful to have people find their own distinctions and how they can remain undistracted. And it's within all of us to find that wisdom.
Yeah,
So, I hope this has been of value to your people and to yourself.
it
Uh,
has been. It
but that's
feels,
what I want to leave you with is that you
mhm.
have the ability to find that wisdom. Yeah.
Yes, so true. I I showed my girlfriend my program, the 4-H method. I shared some with her, and she said, the more I read, the more I see, like you're just helping people find their own power. You're helping people find the answers in themselves. And I was happy to hear that because that's exactly what I want to do. And I think that comes through in every part of our life. Like it's all the same, really. Like we play the same patterns in relationships, with money, with business, with our health. Like it's like that's why I invited you on. Like this, you're not a fitness coach, but you are a wise human being, and we're all human beings, and it comes out in all areas of our lives. So I know I took the assessment, and you have the link. I'll put it in the show notes. There's a free blind spot assessment. So if you're curious about what box you might be in, just answer those questions honestly and they'll be helpful. And I want to ask you where people can find you. But first of all, I ask all of my guests one question, and this will be the last question I ask you. If you could share one message of health with the world,
Hmm.
what would you share based on your experience, your knowledge, your wisdom?
Wow, that's a very good question. Um, I mean, there's so much to say about it, but the
Mm-hmm.
first thought that comes to me is to ask yourself why. Why would wealth or health be so important for you and for your community?
Mm-hmm.
And to never be satisfied with the surface answers that may come back, to keep
Mm-hmm.
looking really deeply, but why is that important? The Socratic
Yeah.
method is to always ask that, but why is that important? What's the big deal about me being able to perform better at my work because I work out?
Mm-hmm.
What's so important about that? Because the more you dig into that, the more you're going to uncover not what really makes you run, but that you have the capacity to invent a good enough reason.
That blank slate. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
blank slate, you see? Because as you ask that question more and more, you realize that it comes down to health being a choice because you choose
Hmm.
and not because of anything else.
Yay. That's beautiful. Yeah. So where can people find you? Where would you like people to
Well,
find
you can probably the easiest way is to go to my website, just my full name you can see it on my thing and just
you?
add a .com to that and
Hmm.
press return on your browser.
Hmm.
And it'll, direct you to it, how else you can connect. You can also find me on LinkedIn, on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, etc. So you can connect with me there. And then, of course, you can go to Substack. If you do a search on Substack, which is substack.com,
Hmm.
and I think it's Substack slash my name again, Sunil Bhaskaran. And you can find all the articles there for free and join me.
Yeah, they're so good. They're so good. I have the links. I'll have them in the show notes. I
Thank you.
appreciate you so much. Thank you
You too.
so much
Thank
for
you.
sharing your wisdom with us. Even just your presence feels really grounding and spacious. And I know that comes through even if you're just listening and you're not a part of this conversation. But like, I guess to the listener, make this alive for you. Like just take all of this and make it alive for you. Let it simmer, let it stay in the background. Maybe listen to this episode again. Don't rush it, but make it important because I think that the more we can identify and be have that awareness, the more we can actually make change. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. Thank you
true.
so much, Sunil.
You're welcome. Thank you.